Good morning, everybody. What a gorgeous morning. And I'm taking advantage of it. Out here on the porch. The sun peeking through in my face. God, I love it. Didn't look that way earlier, but as it turned out, things improved. And I scurried to put this whole studio together for you. So welcome, my friends. Welcome to my porch. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. And you know the drill. Ha. Drink it if you got it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lori says, yay, porch time. Oh, that's good. That's good. How are you, my friends? Good to see you today. Let me professionally fade out the music. Wow. Wow. That's what's neat about having a mixer. With all the buttons and sliders on it. It's almost like having a producer in the control room, but not quite, not quite. Thought I'd change my color scheme a little for you today. Got my red hat on, my black hoodie. It's in the 60s, in the upper 60s, probably out here on the porch now. It's supposed to not get too warm today, but the great news is we're going to have porch weather every morning right on through the weekend, it appears. Well, at least it's a certain percentage, according to the weatherman, of likelihood of that, but I'll take it. So hopefully for the rest of this week, I can come out here and enjoy some sunlight in my face. Something I've been really deficient of, at least until daylight savings time. What is that, next week or 2 weeks, whenever it's coming up, and they take that hour away from me in the morning, give it to us in the afternoon, where for me it makes no difference, but for a lot of people, I think most people maybe, they'd rather have, since they're not really morning people like me, they'd rather have it lighter, longer. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, so I was up in the dark either way. Been trying to entertain myself, get a little work done, watching TV, trying to catch up on everything in the world, and still somehow stay happy. Stay happy and positive. And I'm going to try to maintain that attitude in the face. I don't know if you can hear that noisy car. That's what people do on the interstate that runs by my community. It'll go 1,000 miles an hour. It's crazy. I wouldn't mind if they did it quietly, but every one of them needs to be making more noise than the next. After living here for a number of years, you kind of learn to ignore it. Look at all the people here. And I've got some show notes to talk about and things that are on my mind. And I hope you have things on your mind, too. And if you do, bring them up. Put some cues in front of them. whether they're a general question, a question for me, just something you think that we'd be interested, or you think that I'd be interested in having attention drawn to it. Don't hesitate to put those QQQs in there. That's it's kind of the way I've settled into doing this. I see that Robert Kiltz is in the chat. Kiltzy, my friend, how the hell are you, young man? Good to see you. Caught a little of your live stream with Coach Lisa this morning, being as that I was up early. Always good to see you. I don't know how you get by with the small amount of sleep that you do, but it really is great to see. Everybody's talking to Kiltzy in there and complimenting you on your morning show. Always good to see you here. It's flattering. It's flattering for me to think that you would come in to listen to what this old fart might have to say. I guess I'll have to take a cue from you and try to be nothing but positive this morning in the face of everything that hit me first thing this morning. That's just so frustrating and sad. It's so sad to see what the morning news is actually made of, what's going on in the world. And here we are. It started out with me calling everybody Misfits, but they've renamed it Mitchfits. So I have a community of Mitchfits here who know that we don't fit in with society, that we can't participate in their culture, a culture that revolves around food and drink and alcohol and partying 24/7, the focus of virtually everything that we do to give us pleasure. And as you well know, and you understand addiction, my friend, that is the prime driving emotion right after fear for the human animal. We seek pleasure above everything else. I mean, why wouldn't we? Nature uses that same emotion of pleasure to motivate animals who don't think about it but just do what they instinctively know will give them pleasure. It's the root of all of our addictions, and you know, all of you know, that's the focus of my message. I still think it is the root cause, deep at the heart of not only why we are the way we are, why we've allowed ourselves to be led down the path of this destructive way of eating, but why we have so much trouble overcoming it. Because it means, initially at least in your mind, giving up your greatest source of pleasure in life. And we've been manipulated, and that pleasure is held out like a carrot on a stick in front of us, and we chase it everywhere. And there's no shortages, we all know, of people ready to capitalize on our unwillingness to get real and start down a road that may actually heal us and cure us of that very addiction that's trapped us and keeps us prisoner every day, everywhere. And our small little band of noisy people who keep saying, you're killing yourself, you're poisoning yourself, that isn't a strong enough message, evidently, for the masses, if it means giving up their pleasure that they get from eating these addictive foods. And it's not just food. It's everything. It's everything. I notice it. I notice it every time I turn on the TV. Any kind of story, any kind of sitcom. I've said this before. The first thing anybody goes for when they get home is alcohol. There isn't a woman in any scene, in any movie, in any domestic situation who's at home in the evening that does not have a glass of wine in her hand. It's the first thing that they go for. And it's just incidental to the story. But when I see those things, to me, that is the story. And the men are no better. The men, I think, will drink the wine because the women drink the wine. But generally, it's the man always heads right for the refrigerator, grabs that bottle of beer, pops the top, and immediately starts drinking it when he gets home. And that sets the tone for the evening. And it continues. Look at the shopping carts of people. You want to see how deep this problem is. When you go to the grocery store, look at the shopping carts of the people. And then look at the people. And you'll see the results. It's sad. And we fight it, and we keep doing everything we can do about it. Kelsey, congratulations on the grandbaby, my friend. Julio, I think that's how everybody settled into pronouncing it, even though it's spelled with a G. Julio, you have a grandson. Very Italian-sounding name. And that makes sense. That makes sense, seeing as that you are Italian. I mean, it would be very funny if you named your son like Jaime, your grandson, or something along those lines. So congratulations. Hope the whole family's doing well. Your life has changed more than you know with the first grandchild. I hope he brings you more joy than aggravation over the course of his young life as you try to steer him through, and his parents try to steer him through this maze of misinformation and temptation that have spoiled more children, including my own grandchildren, as they watch more TV and listen to their friends, start drinking. It's very hard to keep them on the straight and narrow. One would only hope that when they turn 40 or 50, they'll snap out of it and figure out and learn a little bit about reality. Let me say hi. Let me say hi to the early birds here, and then we'll get into it. And I think this might be a long one today. Look at the crowd already, 120 people here, and it's just started. Last night, I managed to get this thing posted around 10 o'clock, and Mike Seeley was the first one who jumped in at 10:02, followed by Rick and his Ducks down there in Miami. Steve Studley at 10:21. The Furl Grandma chimed in last night to say hello. Terry Sue after midnight. B81 Mac in the middle of the night. Lady June, of course, she's in Europe, so it was morning for you, but good to see you, June. Bob Black says, hola, buenos dias at 1:56 a.m. Insomniacs Unite. Lady June 511 was back. Just got back from the supermarket. They did not have a single egg. Wow. Oh, and this egg thing is getting ridiculous, but it won't last forever. Eggs are not going to go away. Pay whatever you have to for them. They're still relatively inexpensive compared to everything else we eat. I need to go out on an egg hunt today. I was going to do it first thing this morning, but I didn't get to it, so maybe this afternoon, if they have any, I'll pick some up. I've still got a couple dozen in the fridge, but I like to have a fairly good supply. I really wish I could find those pasture-raised eggs that I like to buy at Sam's, but I haven't seen them there in a month. And Wayne Herman, Good morning to Mitch and all the Mitchfits from Lake Gaston and from Toronto or Montreal. Sorry, Francine, how did I make that mistake? I should read first. Good morning all from Montreal, Canada, Francine Bourgeois, provider of hot coffee for me. And for those of you who are new and don't know the backstory of that, I will point out right here, my coffee warmer provided for me by Francine in a very generous super chat one day, and I bought it, and I have changed my life ever since being able to have that hot coffee here. I take it everybody can hear me okay this morning. And wow, what an honor to have Kelsey in the chat participating with us. I can't believe you have the time, Kelsey. Geez, I don't know how you accomplish everything that you do, but the good news is I think you and I agree on almost everything when it comes to this diet stuff. We can't agree on everything, but enough that I think there aren't too many people out there whose philosophy I buy into. The philosophy of keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it, don't worry about your numbers, and on and on and on. And something I preach here every day at the Church of Cure Your Addiction. Carboholics Anonymous. And I'll keep pushing that because I don't hear anybody else really pushing it. And I'm convinced that until we attack at a national level the subject of carbohydrate addiction and start educating people about how it got here, why we're addicted, why we're slaves to it, why no matter how much we want to or how strong our desire is, we can't fight that addiction. And even if we talk ourselves into starting a healthy eating regimen, 99 out of 100 times we get sabotaged. And that is so sad. And yet I still see nothing being done about it. I would much rather hear Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about how the evil, corrupt sociopaths that run all of the huge corporations that supply our food and our drugs capitalize on that addiction, knowing we're helpless to fight it. And that, in my opinion, and again, I'm just one old fart here with one opinion. In my opinion, that is what needs to be the headlines of his message. Yeah, getting red dye number 2 out of our food might be important. It will solve nothing. Maybe the kids' Cheerios won't be as bright and colorful, but they're still Cheerios. They're still poison, and they're still going to be eaten every day under the guise of a healthy breakfast of 100% frigging sugar. Like they fed me in the hospital when I was recovering from my brain surgery. Special K, skim milk, orange juice, toast and margarine, but God forbid, no butter. 0 fat, no fat, can't have any fat. But here's a nice healthy pastry for you for dessert. 100% sugar. I wonder how many people get killed in a hospital because of the food they feed them, even if they manage to cure whatever accident or thing that brought them in there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Smoothie's here this morning. Good morning, Smoothie 420 and Solitary Carnivore. I like that name. I like that name. Michael Pregler at 846 chimed in. Jerry Graham, good morning, Mitch and everybody. Greg Smith, hiya, Greg, my buddy. Greg's on the road again. Good morning from Southern California. Back to work. Drive carefully, my friend. Drive carefully. Navigate the lunatics out there. Relax. Enjoy your drive. I know you're going to eat meat. Steve McAvoy, good morning, Steve. Steve's back in South Carolina. Good to see you arrived home safely. Kathy, Florida says hello. Anna, PLO7 is here. We're all start talking about eggs. Jerry Hall, good morning to you. Mike Seeley, Sr., how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I chimed in. Good morning, Mitch Fitz. It's a beautiful day, and I'm out here taking advantage of this beautiful day. Even if it was a little chilly this morning, it should warm up. By the time this live stream's over, I will certainly be able to shed this sweatshirt that I'm wearing. A different sweatshirt today because I think you all just got tired of seeing that Tampa Bay Buccaneer one. I wear that because it's the warmest one I have. Charles Faircloth chimed in. Good morning, Charles. Bryce Hatch is here. Hiya, Bryce. Good morning. Yes, a beautiful day. Harry Dion, good to see you. And yes, true, Jerry. Eggs seem to be on everyone's radar. There's been a number of YouTube videos. I know many of you have sent me links to them to watch, talking about what's really going on with the eggs, who's really behind manipulating the prices. We'll all be called conspiracy theorists until we look back and find out that all those theories turned out to be true. Tanya's here. Good morning, Tanya. How you doing? Dangerously low on butter. My God, don't let that happen. I don't think there's a butter shortage. Go get some. Terry Sue. Hiya, Terry. Good to see you. Good morning, Mitch, and to the rest of our meteor, I love it, shower tribe. Terry's very clever. Very clever. I always enjoy names she comes up with for our little group. Thomas, Target Prime Rib is here. How you doing, Thomas? And are we sneaking up on 9:30 yet? Not quite. Jerry Graham, Terry Sue, Tanya, Terry Sue, Kathy, everybody's chatting. 9:26. Smoothie's back. Laurie, it's definitely a very beautiful day. Good morning to Mitch and the Mitch Fitz. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Terry Sue's poaching her eggs this morning. Mark C. is waving at us, and we're sneaking up on 9:30. Aaron. Hiya, Aaron. How you doing? Good morning to you and your 10 children. Hope everybody's well and you're surviving. I can't imagine. I still can't imagine. Wow. Gary Arzamendi from Southern California, 9:29. Let's go, he says. It's time for coffee. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And who was first at 9:30? Who was first at 9:30? Wow, look at them all. Smoothie, Tanya, Lizzie. Wow, all this 9:29. Holy cow, Lori. Terry Sue again. Everybody's hitting that button. Gary, Joyce. How you doing, Joyce? Beconyi, I don't recognize that. Welcome, somebody new. Good to see you, Joyce. Rick, 9:29, so close. Holy cow. Gary again. But, sorry, folks. Everybody congratulate Jerry Hall. Right on the money. 9:30, today's winner. Ding, ding, ding. And one of these days, I'm going to get a sound effect with some bells ringing for that. Among other things that I keep promising to do one of these days. And then we had everybody chiming in at 9:30. Who's new? Who haven't I? Gary's here. Good morning, Gary. No slow. And Alexi K. Somebody else I don't recognize. And we all know this guy. Robert Kiltsey. Terrific. So good to see you here. Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee is here. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing in Copper Hill? You're right, Terry. You can tell we all need sunshine. It's been a long, dreary winter, even here in Florida. In fact, yesterday I did it from inside in the studio because it just rained all day, never let up the whole day. And when I got up this morning, everything was still all wet. The sky was cloudy, and it's still a little cloudy. And the last of it should move out today. And Kiltz is having coffee, my only coffee. Be proud of it, Kiltsy. Don't fear the coffee, even though there's so many people that tell us so many reasons why we shouldn't do it. Sometimes I listen to Rob Sivas because he focuses on carb addiction too. And he calls things like this a bridge. And you can call it a bridge, you can call it a crutch, you can just call it something that you enjoy. You got to have some of that in your life, I think. My major test of anything is, does it contain a lot of carbs? Is it going to trigger an addiction or a craving? And I figure if it doesn't, I can live with it. Okay, so I'm drinking something that came from a plant that was soaked in water. All right. But I don't eat any plants. So I'm not worried about how bad it's going to hurt me. I enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, then please don't drink it. Please don't drink it. Maybe there's something to the caffeine that is mildly addictive. We're all addicted to everything. We can't help that. Addiction was nature's way of ensuring that our ancestors survived. I mean, it's there for a reason. Nothing has happened in our history for no reason. And I talk about this ad nauseum, about the fact that I believe carbohydrate addiction is the granddaddy of addictions. It is the first addiction. It came long before we wandered into and found alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, gambling casinos. The only addiction that we have that might be older than a carbohydrate addiction is our addiction to sex. And it's a good thing we're addicted to sex, and I think we're all addicted to sex, and if we weren't addicted to sex, there wouldn't be a species. There wouldn't be humans. We need to be addicted to sex. It needs to occupy our thoughts. It needs to be our prime driving force in life to reproduce. It comes right after our prime driving force to survive. That is the essence of human nature. And human nature is an interesting term. Contains two very important concepts: human, and even more important, nature. Because you don't have to be human to exist in nature, but you have to be subject to nature's driving forces. And the prime of two of those are survival long enough to reproduce. That's the key to life if it's going to propagate. Period. Period. Very simple. Very simple. Gary Arzamendi says, congratulations, Grandpa Kiltz. Good to see you. Good to see you. Lizzie's here. Hi. Jennifer Hip, good morning to you. And let me see who else before I get to my little show notes here. And we get on with some questions. If you got any questions, throw them in the chat. I'm going to try to get through the chat faster today. I'm also going to try to keep an eye on the live chat that I have scrolling by here. This is the current chat. Claudia Burkick just put an entry at the bottom, and I can glance over to that. I also have over here the live chat from Rumble. So let me take a minute here to welcome Rod Leader from Rumble. Good morning to you. And Mike Seeley Sr. from Melbourne, Florida. Good morning, Michael. And Gary No Slow is over there in Rumble. Good to see you guys. So I'm here getting sunburned from all of these screens I'm sitting in front of. Pretty much mostly recovered from my flu, getting my strength back. Still trying to get up to find the energy to go start exercising again. And I think I'm getting very, very close to that. Very close to that. And I think I need to grab my camera. Today I need to go take a walk. Maybe pontificate a little bit and do a walk and talk. And maybe put it out tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what we got here. Who else have I said hi to? I see the same people. Lewis L. Hey, I'm not worried, Lewis. I knew you'd be here. How you doing up there in New York? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Lizzie says she slept in today. Everybody's saying hi to Kelsey here. That's great. That's great. We have somebody here called Smokey Bear Lover. Cool. Cool. A member of the private community, too. I think that, was that gifted to you? Because I don't remember seeing you before, but welcome. 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 Kelsey says, what? I'm driving Sarasota to Miami on a plane to Mexico City. I'll see everyone next week and keep watching Mitch. Thank you, Kelsey, and be safe. Be safe down there. Be safe down there. I think you can find meat in Mexico City. Have a great and productive trip. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. Mike Allen, I haven't said good morning to you from St. Catharines. Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you. Mama Bear's here. Good morning, Mama Bear. Glad you could make it. What time? Up to 9:36. I'm already a half an hour behind. Man, it doesn't take me long, does it? Kelsey says he gets you all started and I finish it off. Yeah, the dynamic duo here. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Lat's here. How you doing? How you doing, Lat? Good morning, Scott Elliott. Yeah, Kelsey, you're right. Don't watch the news. I watch all my brothers and sisters on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and much more exciting and fun supporting my family. I watch the news because I just want to know what's coming in this world, and I'm also hopeful about so many things. I like to look and see, well, maybe there's some actual good news, but I'm not generally very busy. I don't go like you do. I'm pretty well a homebody and a hermit, and my connection with I don't do social media at all. I don't want to. So my connection with the outside world generally comes through the TV screen or my conversations with my friends here on my live streams. Kilt says roots are the root cause. I get it, plants poisonous, and when we go to the meat-based diet and we eliminate the plants, our mind works magically, and we see the power within all of, I guess he meant to say us. That's true. That's true. And the plants are the carriers of all the carbohydrates, save for a very small amount in animal products in the form of lactose in dairy. But other than that, there's just traces of carbohydrates. Certainly not enough to addict anybody. Not enough to screw up a plant and carb-free diet. Wow, busy chat. Busy. Questions. I'm looking. I'm looking. I have some show notes here. I don't know if they're depressing or they're just a kind of a journal of a journal of my thoughts. So people have been buying me some coffees. Thank you so much. Let's see. Jennifer Hip bought me a coffee. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jennifer says, I'm a sugar/carb addict, soon to be 63. I have been doing carnivore since August 2024 and noticing the positive effects on the daily. I wish I would have known this so many years ago. I truly enjoy the group to keep me motivated. It is hard, but I'm sticking to it. Should be getting quite a bit easier for you as you go. You've been at it long enough where your addiction should really be starting to just disappear or subside and easily managed, as long as you don't allow yourself to get hungry enough where you're going to start getting cravings. Focus maybe less on your weight and focus more on killing those cravings by never allowing them to take hold. Some people can accomplish that in 3-4 weeks. Other people, especially people who do fall off the wagon a little bit, which most of us do when we start any kind of a new eating lifestyle, because the draw of those pleasurable foods is more than we can consciously override. We are slaves to them. And the one thing we all find in common when we do cheat, and I don't even like the word cheat because it's not your fault. You're not in control. But I got news. One thing we all share in common. It's one of the things I noticed years ago that kind of pointed me in the direction of how all this works and why we're slaves to it. And that is the fact that the subconscious takes away our critical thinking. It shuts our prefrontal cortex down. It fills us full of lame excuses and rationalizations why it's okay just to have it this once. And then we make promises to ourselves. I'm going to start again on Monday. It's universal. We have all experienced it. Every one of us. Look inward. Look at your past, your own behavior. Instead of feeling guilty about it, which is the normal response when the control of your critical thinking is returned to you after you've had the pleasure that your subconscious wanted, found that sugar that it thinks it needs. Why wouldn't it think it needs it? That's all it gets anymore. When our control of our own consciousness is turned back to us, our rationality returns clear-headed, what do we all feel? We feel regret and guilt and shame. Where were those feelings when we were heading for that guilty pleasure? Where were those feelings? Where were those thoughts? Are we not the same person? Are we not the same person? Such is the power of our animal brain. It drives all the animals to get what they need, and it drives all of us humans as well. And it's in our programming. It's the same thing that motivated the hunter to sharpen his spears, get off his ass and get out, risk his life to find food. Rational thinking had to go out the window, or none of those people would have ever said, I'm not, are you crazy? You seen the size of that animal? I'm likely to get killed. There's no way. So the conscious thinking, the rationalization are turned off and replaced by lame excuses, and we all fall off the wagon. And it isn't until we do the little hacks, the things that have helped me get over that lifetime of doing what, in retrospect, were really stupid things, that I cured this addiction and I don't get those thoughts anymore. And my subconscious does not take charge when it comes to a quest for sugar and carbohydrates. That's why I say, can't do keto if you're a flaming addict. And most of us are flaming addicts. We just will not admit it to ourselves. Hell, we don't even, most of us, know that it's a thing because nobody even talks about it. And you all know how I feel about that. You know that I feel that it is not only a thing, it is the thing. The thing that unless addressed somehow, God knows how, I can't save the world, we talk about that, but unless it's addressed at a level where something might be done about it, and that's a joke too. We've been addressing lesser addictions ever since I can remember, and we've never fixed any of them. The best we can do, I mean, think about this. You ever go? I've never been an alcoholic. I don't like alcohol. I'm not addicted to alcohol. I could care less about alcohol. If the whole alcohol supply in the world dried up tomorrow, and there was no wine or whiskey or beer or any of that shit left, it wouldn't make a dent in my life or give me a care or a feeling of being deprived of something I want. I just don't want it. Now, maybe I'm a rare individual, but that's just my physiology. I have no desire to drink, never did. Don't like the taste of the stuff. Drank socially because everybody else did, but it never took hold. I never got the pleasure out of it that I needed to get addicted to it. I didn't like getting drunk and stupid. No one in my family was an alcoholic either, so maybe that was inherited. That tendency is probably passed on somehow genetically. But I can understand the power of addiction because I am addicted to other things, especially carbohydrates. But we have not cured alcoholism because we continue to encourage it, glorify it, provide products for it, keep it in everybody's face everywhere they look. People having a beverage, people drinking, even though it's so poisonous and so destructive. It's an addiction too. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we fix addictions? I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of thinking. I don't need to read. I figure shit out for myself. You know that. I always look for the why. Where did it come from? Why can't it be fixed? Why don't we have the power to just make up our mind? Why can't all the people today in this world, in this country, who are dissatisfied with their weight, their appearance, and their health, why is it that they can't just make a decision? I saw an ad this morning on television. Weight loss centers. Anyway, let me finish thanking people for the coffees. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And Mike Seeley Sr. bought me 5 coffees. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Mike. Congratulations, my friend. Wow, wow, wow. Celebrating 1 year on carnivore today. Wow. Listen to this. When I first met you, I said, you saved my life. And you did save my life. And thank you. Oh, Michael. Michael, my friend. I don't even know what to say to that. It means more to me than all of this stuff. And thank you. And I'm so happy that you and your son are both members of this little community of Mitch Fits that I have here. And I just hope that I know we get a lot of new people come and go every day, that if I keep trying to focus people on what their real problem is, get them to understand it, understand where it comes from, why it can work the way it does, why they're powerless, why the concept of willpower is a pipe dream when it comes to trying to outsmart your own animal brain, which is your real brain, with a lame little level of consciousness layered on top of it. The best our conscious mind can do is make suggestions, propose an idea to our subconscious. Our subconscious is in charge. We are still animals. And anybody that doesn't believe that, whether because your religion says we're not related to the animals and we didn't come from the animals, that humans don't behave like animals, I just point you to the world. I point you to the world. Observe human behavior. We could actually take a lesson in civility from the animals. We're in no position to preach superiority. Look around. Look around. I looked around this morning. I stuck my head out into the world. What did I find? Here are my show notes. Let me talk a little bit about this. And I do want to get to questions. I haven't seen any yet. Let me scroll. I hate to jump around a little bit, but I talk. Therefore, I am. Question. Smoke it if you got it. Oh, man, Harry. Harry, my friend. Harry. God, I'm glad you reminded me of that. I'm outside. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wow, I like this big fat cigar. Look at the size of this thing, a 6x60 ring gauge. Greg would appreciate this, wouldn't you, Greg? Oh, little happy music. This is the face of a happy guy right here. All right. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate the reminder. Appreciate the reminder. You know what? They call that shtick. You ever heard that term? Shtick. That's my shtick. It's my act. That's my act. That's my personality. I try to entertain. I want to entertain, but I want to inform too. But sometimes just informing and just being a talking head without entertaining, it just doesn't get through. So I try to do all those things here. Some of you may not like my cigar. Some of you may, but it's me. It's my right, and it's your right to do whatever the hell you want. And nobody should think less of you. I know most of you are struggling. Most of you are trying hard to stick to this, and we're here to help every morning. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why you come here. But I always watch my viewer count when I light up my cigar, and I always lose 5 or 10 viewers immediately because people think, well, that's disgusting. I don't want to listen to that guy. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. I'm not going to force help on you, and maybe you don't need my help or want my help. Anyway, we're still here. A lot of us. And I'm looking for questions. I do have a bunch of show notes. Princess Mama's here. How you doing, Princess? Good to see you. Good to see you. Here's a question. A question from Claudia Burkick. Question. My hubby's friend says that anytime he eats steak 3 days in a row, gout flares up in his hands. He told him if that's true, he'd be riddled with gout as well. How can we talk to him? Well, that's tough. It's very tough. It's very tough to talk to anybody. It's very tough to talk to anybody about this, especially about a medical condition that they have. What is there in steak, for example, that's going to cause a gout flare-up? I had gout, and any of you who have never had gout don't understand the level of pain that you can suffer from gout. Worse than arthritis. And it usually, for me, it was right in the big toe, which seems to be the most common place where people have gout. I couldn't walk when I got a gout attack. And everybody tells you that the red meat causes gout. I think that's a wives' tale. I think that's propaganda from the don't eat meat crowd, and we know that message comes from virtually everywhere, promulgated by big food and big pharma, who wants you to eat and buy food that's a hell of a lot more profitable than agriculture farming, cattle farming, raising animals. Plants are much cheaper. Much cheaper. So are seed oils than butter. Grains are the cheapest. And that's what they want to make all their food out of, and they know how to make it addictive as hell, tasty as hell, as pleasurable as hell. And we just follow along. We are hooked. We are hooked. We're all drug addicts. Sorry, we're drug addicts. Sugar is a drug, as much a drug as any other drug. You can't talk to him, unfortunately. His mind is made up, and the best you can do is find some credible videos on YouTube that talk about any connection that gout might have to a carnivore diet. And most importantly, I think you'll find, if this fellow's honest with you, that besides the steak 3 times a week, he's eating a raft of crap food. Probably the cause of his gout, and it's probably just a coincidence. There's certainly not a controlled trial there, that's for sure. There is no way to know what's causing his gout flare-ups, or even if it is gout, it might be arthritis, maybe rheumatoid arthritis, maybe an autoimmune condition from eating the crap food that he probably eats. But you can't talk to him. His doctor will talk to him, but tell him all the wrong things. He's pretty much screwed until he realizes that it's time for him to try to do a little research on his own and experiment on his own. Maybe cut out some of those other crap things that he's eating and just eat meat and see what happens. I don't know the story of the guy, so I can't advise you how to advise him. I can only tell you that you probably will fail trying to help him. So my philosophy is help the people that want help. Otherwise, let's just help ourselves. That's about the best we can do, I think. Good question, though. Very good question. And something we all run into. Hey, CB Carmack is here. How you doing here late? Got busy right off the bat. Yeah, CB, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you this morning. Good to see you. Kelsey says Special K the K is for killer cereal. Yes, it's special. That's for sure. It's special. Everybody's saying good morning to Kelsey. Ah, that's cool having you here, Kelsey. Sandy Blythe is here. How you doing, Sandy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Tammy Petarch is here this morning. Good morning to you. Mark Booz is here. Hiya, Mark. Good to see you. I'm looking for questions. I'm almost to 10 o'clock in the chat, so not too far behind. Here we go. Jerry Graham says, new hat as well as sweatshirt this morning. Yes, not new. I've had these things, but different. The hat says Romeo on it. Romeo. It's a cigar brand, Romeo and Juliet. And that was their new logo 20 years ago when I think I've happened on this hat somewhere. Bart Simpson is here. How you doing, Bart? My favorite Bart Simpson line of all time on The Simpsons is when Bart, laying on his couch, observes and says, "Is everybody in the world stupid except me?" I identified with that when Bart said that. A little arrogant, but sometimes it seems that way. Questions, questions, questions. Everybody's chatting away. Good to see it. Good to see it. Rick has got a question. Rick, Mitch, are you using a quadcopter to follow you with your camera when walking? No, not a quadcopter. I'm using a 360-degree camera. An Insta360 X4. It's an 8K 360-degree camera, and all of the moving around, the change of scenes, the zooming in and out, making it look like I'm being filmed from above. The camera's out on a selfie stick, recording a complete 360-degree sphere, and in the editing, Rick, the Insta360 Studio editor, you can reframe any part of that 360-degree picture at any time and transition from one scene to another, which gives you the zoom outs, the pans, the different angles. Whereas when I'm walking, I'm just holding that camera out 3 or 4 feet in front of me on a stick, a little bit over my head, and I can get any angle that I want, including zooming out to the point where it looks like I'm walking on a tiny planet, which is, I think, a cool effect. And I've done that a few times too. People always ask me if I'm doing that with a drone. No, that'd be very difficult to do with a drone. Good question, though. I love answering technical questions. Kelsey! Kelsey validates my lifestyle. I love coffee, by the way, with a cigar from time to time with my friend Mitch. Yeah, we need to sit down sometime, Kelsey. Next time you're here in Florida, maybe just the two of us get together, have a little quiet time, a little conversation, without all the hoorah and partying and hundreds of people coming from every direction. I would really, really like that. I would even come to Sarasota to have some time with you like that. So keep that in mind. Let me know if you're up for it someday. We'll arrange it and we'll do it. We'll do it. Stevie Wood says good morning. Good morning, Stevie. How you doing? I never did get to my show notes. I am so harebrained sometimes. Wow. And Jennifer Hip. Yes, I said I thank you for the coffee. Thank you. And Mike Seeley Sr. for the coffee. I know my phone has been dinging. Robert Kiltz sent me a text. Oh, wow, look at this. He sent me a text and a picture. Look at the picture. This is so cool. Kiltz is riding in the back seat of his car. Let me see if I can hold this up and focus on it. He's riding in the back seat of his car. He's got the screen up on the seat in front of him, and there I am. He's watching me as he's riding. Wow, that is great. That is so great. Thank you, Kils. I can't miss you, Mitch. I love what you do. I'm in a limo sitting in the back seat enjoying watching you. You inspire all of us and bring a smile to our face, by the way. Thank you. I live to entertain. I never ever thought that I'd be an entertainer, but it seems to be turning out that way with a morning show. Oh, drink it if you got it, guys. Anyway, Stevie Wood is up there, says good morning. Princess Mama's here. Holy cow, look at all the people. Looking for the questions. I don't know if my show notes that I made myself would be a little depressing, and I don't even know if I should go there. Smoothie has a thought. Share your thought with us, Smoothie. They say carnivores don't sunburn. Could the reason being that we are not eating the photosynthesis properties ingested, attaching the sun's rays? Well, I think you're on the right track with that. I think the reason that we basically, and it doesn't happen overnight because it takes a long time, our diet from plants that we've been steered to all our life contains so many compounds with the prefix phyto, and you've heard that, phytonutrients, phytosterols. Well, what is a phytosterol? And the operative word is sterol. We all know what cholesterol is. That's a sterol too. So both plants and animals have sterols, and the plant's version of that sterol is incredibly similar in molecular construction to the animal version of that sterol called cholesterol, which is used by the body as a building material or a precursor for the construction of hormones, especially the sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone. It's also used in building so many of the fat-soluble vitamins. It is also used by the human body to insulate the connections between the neurons of our brain cells, where they call it a myelin sheath. It is a incredibly important substance, these sterols, in the construction, maintenance, and operation of not only the body itself, but of the things that are used in the body, especially some of the hormones and vitamins. The push to keep lowering it has been a very dangerous thing, all stemming from the work of one Ansel Keys, who decided that it was poisonous and bad and clogged our arteries and caused heart disease and needed to be eliminated. Along comes the statins. It's bad enough that we're poisoning us with all this ridiculous food, but we've been pushed towards mostly plant sterols. Since we've been so worried and we've concentrated so much on reducing the level of the necessary animal sterols in our body, follow me through this. And because of the tremendous similarity in the molecular construction of a plant sterol to an animal cholesterol, that we are starting to use plant sterols where cholesterol is called for, and we are slowly, at a molecular level, turning ourselves into plant people. Honest to God. We are turning ourselves into plant people. You are what you eat. And unfortunately, if all you eat is plants, you are desperately trying to find the building materials you need to repair your animal body and have to substitute all of this plant stuff. Now, where does this stuff go? Well, one of the primary places that these plant sterols end up is in the cell walls of your skin cells, because your skin cells turn over pretty rapidly. And plants deal with sunlight different than animals do. So the more of your skin cells that have plant sterols used in the construction of their walls, the more reactive you're going to be to sun. And one of the symptoms of that seems to be sunburn. Whereas animal people with no plant sterols in the cell walls of their skin don't seem to sunburn. That makes sense to me. And it can take years, once you've become 20% plant, to rid yourself, to finally replace all those plant sterols with the right sterols, with cholesterol. And over time, I know I found it to be true with me, I will not sunburn anymore. Hence, no need for me to dress like an Eskimo in the heat of the summer. No need for me to slather every square inch of my body with sunscreen poison to filter out all the beneficial wavelengths of light that we need, not only on our skin, but in our eyes. We spend and focus constantly on shielding ourselves from life-giving and health-giving radiation and wavelengths from the sun, the source of all energy on our planet. We hide from it. We also eat so much sugar, and we now are really discovering the connection between sugar and cancer growth. And this happened to me. We get skin cancer in increasing and increasing rates because our skin is not skin anymore, it's plant, 20% or more. Our poor DNA doesn't know what to do. Our cells are trying to divide, but the materials they need to replicate themselves have to be taken from plants now, because that's all we're putting in our body. God forbid we should eat a steak. Now, do I have tests? Do I have labs, reports, and double-blind, random controlled trials to prove what I just said? No. Nobody does. We don't have any tests to prove anything. If you really look at all of these so-called studies that they use to come to conclusions that are just guesses at best. But I can only go by my own experience and what happened. Number one, when I stopped eating plants completely, and it's been over 2.5 years now, I stopped getting precancers. When I used to go, because I had a melanoma on my nose, a deadly form of cancer that I survived, caught it early enough, had it removed. That's why my nose looks funny, because the whole center of my nose is actually my shoulder, where they harvested the skin to graft on my nose, because they had to remove just about all the skin on the top of my nose to get margins big enough around that malignant melanoma so that it would not come back. That was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I've been going to dermatologists. I had that brown spot on my nose for years. I was told for years and years and years it was nothing more than hyperpigmentation, which is like a freckle. Don't worry about it unless it starts to get darker or changes shape or get an outline around it. Well, that happened. And I went to the dermatologist and they did a biopsy and he came back and I got the phone call. It's a scary phone call. Is this Mr. Weiss? Yes. I have your lab results here from your biopsy. You have a malignant melanoma on your nose and the doctor wants to see you as soon as possible. That's the scariest thing I ever heard in my life. I know what malignant melanoma is. I knew people that died from it. Has it metastasized yet? No, the doctor will tell you. So I had my doctor's appointment 3-4 days from then, and for 3 or 4 days I was the walking dead man. I was convinced. That's it, I'm done. I'm done. I've got cancer. I've got a melanoma on my nose. I've got skin cancer. And I went to see the doctor, and he said, good news. We've caught it really early. So we're going to remove it, and then we're going to keep an eye on you for the next couple of years very closely to make sure that it doesn't come back and it doesn't spread. Now, I had been doing keto back then, but not carnivore. I was still eating my share of fruits and veggies, trying to be healthy. Every time I went to see him then, I went every 3 months. For years, every 3 months. Every time I went in there. Out comes the spray bottle of nitrogen on my poor bald head. Well, you've got 4 or 5 precancers here. Squamous cell carcinoma or some other such disease name. And he'd freeze them off, and he kept freezing it. Every time I went in there, gonna freeze off another 5 or 6 of these potential cancers off my head. But the good news was, it never spread. They really check your lymphatic system for that. Look for signs of it popping up anywhere else. And for 2 years, I went every 3 months, and finally he said, okay, you can come every 6 months now. And then I started going every 6 months. Well, one thing led to another. My nose healed up pretty good where I don't look like a freak. Somewhere in here I have a picture. I've shown it to you. I'll show it to you. Me with that huge bandage on my nose. It was something that wasn't pleasant to go through. It was very painful, very inconvenient. Took a long time to heal. Even the shoulder where they had to harvest the skin took a while to heal. I still feel the scar back there every time I scratch my shoulder. But I had cancer, so I can rightly say that I'm a cancer survivor. And I am. And that I did a stupid thing and passed out in the gym from overdoing it and ended up with a blood clot in my brain called a subdural hematoma. Had to have my skull, half of my skull removed, have the blood clot removed, brain surgery. That was 3.5 years ago. And it took me a year to recover from that. And that is when I finally decided and figured all this shit out. And I said, I can't live like this. I'm getting too old to have all of these life-threatening conditions, along with the pain of rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, which was focused primarily on my elbows, high blood pressure, medicated, couldn't keep the weight off no matter what I did. Kidney stones, 8 of them. I had 8 kidney stones, which I was passing from time to time in excruciating pain. And I'm saying, bitch, you've been trying to be healthy your whole life. You've tried to keep your weight down. You started with Atkins way back in the 70s. How the hell are you falling apart like this? You're in your mid-70s. What the hell is wrong? And I finally figured out why I couldn't stay on a regimen, a lifestyle that would allow me to keep the weight off, fix any of the diseases and conditions that I had, caused by poisoning myself with plants for a lifetime. This started out, this was a question about skin cancer, about why we don't sunburn. Well, let me tell you what happened after 2.5 years on carnivore. I go to my dermatologist once a year now to be checked out. There is absolutely no chance of a return of any skin cancer for a number of reasons. Number one, I don't get precancers anymore on my head. I have been doing this long enough that I have turned that part of me that was trying to be a plant back into an animal. I am what I eat now, but it took years. I have dumped most of the oxalates and other poisons that have caused me all of those kidney stones. And I have a couple of them left, and that's it. And that takes years for that stuff. But they've passed, many of them. Some were hard to pass. Some of them passed, and I didn't even know it. But I think I've got 3 left, and they don't bother me. And they might, because they might start moving again. One of them is bigger. 2 of them are tiny. But they were destroying my kidneys, those kidney stones, because of the oxalates, because I bought into the crap advice. Green smoothies are so healthy for you, just juice all that spinach. We are killing ourselves. We need to know why. Nobody talks about why. Where does it come from? Where did this bad advice come from? Why are we still following it? Why is the entire medical profession still following this deadly advice? Why does your doctor tell you when you come in there with high LDL that you need to immediately get on a high-dose statin and immediately stop eating meat, stop eating animal fats, and start eating nothing but grains, fruits, and vegetables and seed oils? That's their advice. It is maddening. Is anything changing? What did I see on TV this morning? Medi weight loss. Medi weight loss centers, where you can come in and your first month supply of Ozempic is only $149. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. Is that changing? No, it's getting worse. All the ads this morning on the morning news were lawyers, hospitals, cancer treatment centers, weight loss centers, drug companies, and more lawyers, and an occasional car dealer in the mix. It is in our face 24/7 if we don't completely drop out of society, and most of us can't. We have obligations, we have jobs, we have families. We want to have social lives. We want to be able to go to a football game now and then without poisoning ourselves in the process. We can't. Not in today's culture. Today's culture is deadly. And it's deadly because we are a nation of addicts. That is the problem. How do you fix that? Wow. We haven't been very successful at fixing addictions. We certainly haven't fixed drug addiction. How many people out there are still addicted to opioids and painkillers? And the more sick they get, and the more they destroy themselves with these poisons, and the more autoimmune conditions they have with crippling arthritis, the more they need pain pills. How many people are addicted and hooked on opioids? Too many. Too many people. What's the answer? Marijuana. Legalize it everywhere. Didn't we just get done trying to tell people how bad it was to smoke? I don't inhale this shit into my lungs, but you sure as hell inhale marijuana in your lungs. And if we do ever manage to cure anybody's addiction, we just replace it with another addiction. Go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Everybody is gulping coffee and puffing cigarettes to replace the pleasure they get from the alcohol they're trying to give up. They're not curing a thing. Our only way with drug addiction, here, have some methadone. You want to quit smoking? Use a nicotine patch. That doesn't cure an addiction. The best we can do is replace it with a different addiction. Somehow, with all this science and these rocket scientists and big brains that we have that know how to make this food more poisonous and addictive for us, maybe somehow we need to put them to work to figure out a way to help people cure their carbohydrate addiction without poisoning or killing themselves. Ozempic is not the answer. We haven't even begun to see the damage caused by that. Anyway, you get me. I get on these soapboxes. But I know I'm right. I know that I'm right, my friends. I know without a shadow of a doubt that it isn't, these thoughts I have are not pipe dreams. Princess Mom says, after doing carnivore, how quickly do you feel the changes mentally and physically? I'm impatient. Well, you can't, Princess, you can't be impatient. You got to change your lifestyle and just let it happen. And so many of these things happen over time where you really, it's not such a big increment that you're going to say, wow, I felt like shit yesterday, but I feel great today. The changes will happen. The changes will happen. They should happen as long as you take care of yourself and eat right. You can't rush anything. You're not in charge of your physiology. You can only feed it, and you can only feed it properly. You can't manipulate it like they all want you to think with some magic pill injection or food. You need to, I saw a YouTube video yesterday, the title on the thumbnail was, you need to start eating this immediately to fix everything. Yeah, okay. Clickbait. 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 Aaron answered Princess's question. Yeah, you've been doing it for a month and a half. I'm talking years of being faithful to this lifestyle. Terry Sue observes Mitch on alcohol would not be good. His body has told him that, and he listens. Yes, we get these clues, but my body also tells me that I need to eat sugar. So I have to not listen to that and figure out ways to keep that tamped down. Keep that tamped down. Everybody, name your poison, they say. Everybody's got a different poison. I think we need a little happy music for a second while I relight this big fat cigar. All righty. And I think I still have some hot coffee in here. I have about a third of a cup yet. What time is it getting to be? What time is it? We have been doing this for 1 hour and 23 minutes already. Wow, time flies. Kelsey says the news is just part of our entertainment. Yes, there's no such thing as news. It's all entertainment. We have to use it as the building blocks of our lives to make it better. Yeah, the news this morning was absurd. It was absurd. Instead of calling it the morning news, they should call it the morning crime and victim report, because all it was one story after another. This home invasion, this murder. Police found 2 people in their house. Obviously, killed each other. Obviously, a domestic dispute. These 2 parents are being arrested for child abuse because they took their kid into the emergency room and the signs of abuse were so pervasive that the mother ran away because she heard that the police were coming. Well, they finally caught up with her. The dregs of humanity. And if you're not the criminal, then you're the victim. And that's what the news was all about this morning. Peppered with the drug companies telling you how to lose the weight and get thin, with the cancer hospitals telling you that they've got the answer that nobody else has, with the lawyers telling you that we'll get you, we'll help you win the lottery here and sue some poor schlub because we can. As long as that poor schlub's got a big insurance company behind him. And it's just fraud. Fraud, corruption, nonsense, lies, opportunism, one story after another. I'm waiting for the good news. What did Robert F. Kennedy say something maybe this morning that would make me feel a little optimistic? No, there wasn't a thing. And I finally just took the remote and said, hell with this. This is, I can't watch any more of this. So then I turned to YouTube. I wonder what's on YouTube. Same shit. Everybody going for clicks. Everybody going for clicks with the magic answer, promising something that is impossible, both in politics, in diet, in everything else. So I turned it off completely, and for an hour before the show, I just listened to some music and got my thoughts together. Decided to do this outside. And takes about 15 minutes for me to set this up. Looks complicated, but I've got it down to a science now. Because normally this table just sits here empty. All this stuff, I can't leave it outside. But I got it down to a science. Takes me 10, 15 minutes to set it up, 10, 15 minutes to turn it all off and put it away and take it in the house. I enjoy it so much out here that it's worth the effort. In my studio in the house, it's already set up. It's ready to go. Take me 5 minutes. I go in there, turn everything on, load the software. I'm in business. But I love it out here. I love it. I'm very relaxed. I'm at home out here. We don't have a real big crowd today. It's Tuesday. No drama today, so maybe people come here for drama. Greg Smith says, what are you smoking today? This is it's a cheap brand. It's called Odyssey. My local shop got them in. It's okay. I'm not going to buy them again. It's a little too soft. But it was cheap. I thought I'd try them. I really like the Perdomos the best, I think. Terry Sue says to me, you're an entertainer. Just because you aren't tap dancing doesn't mean you aren't entertaining. So I hope I'm entertaining you. I mean, why else would somebody stick around? And no, I'm not going to tap dance. Sorry. Let me take a look over here. I'm not missing anything. No, don't think so. All righty. Yeah, I could use one more monitor here. I have to switch windows sometimes. And what time am I up to? 10:22. So I'm still a half an hour behind, but that's how I run. That's how I seem to run. I see a lot of people commenting on the questions that were asked. That's great. Good to see that. Lucy Stewart is here. Hi, Lucy. How you doing? And Pat Ramirez is here. Good to see you. DS111, my friend. I might be stupid, but I doubt it. I don't think you're stupid, my friend. Far from it. I don't think anybody that comes in here is stupid. Why would they? And I enjoy interacting with the chat too, even if there's no questions here. I can't, you know, I'm at a kind of a disadvantage because I don't want to answer the medical questions, which is ironic because most of the people who think they're qualified to answer these medical questions are brainwashed and only answer them wrong. Here's somebody I haven't seen before, the Kingdom Way Keto to Carnivore. Hi, hey Mitch, love your content. Great, thank you. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. And Moray James is here. Good morning to you. People are still coming in. People come and go throughout this whole stream. Deborah Wisegow, question. What is the best way to win stubborn spouse over to carnivore? I'm so frustrated with mine. Type 1 diabetic addicted to carbs. Wow, 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 wow. Deborah, how long have you been married to this guy? Have you ever won an argument yet? I feel your frustration. I have the same issue with my children. You can't push it on him. He gets too much pleasure from carbs. What you're living with is living proof that I'm right, that common sense, logic, make absolutely no difference. And he could do wonders to better his health and extend his life. Even though he's a type 1 diabetic, it's been well documented. And the name of the doctor, is it Brownstone? Anyway, there's a doctor who is a type 1 diabetic that has discovered amazing things about the power of nutrition and diet to live being a type 1 diabetic. I don't know how he became type 1, whether his pancreas finally just gave up or he was born that way. But the only thing you have to offer, the only promise you can make, or the only enticement you might have for your husband is to be the example for him. But he's special. I mean, he's convinced more than likely that he's type 1, he can't fix anything, why bother? Why should I have to live without that which gives me the most pleasure in life? It's very hard. It's very hard, Deborah. One of the greatest challenges is to try to sell carnivore to somebody who's just not interested in trading the only pleasure they have in life for maybe better health. It's not a priority. Health is not the priority, unfortunately. It isn't until each one of us individually faces something that kind of slaps you in the face. I faced it with all the problems I was having and conditions that I had. Finally just said, nah, what I'm doing isn't working. This is not how I want to go out. A sick, decrepit old man. I want to go out. I don't care how long it takes me to go out, but I want to go out on my terms, not in pain, not living out of the drugstore. And carnivore, as far as I'm concerned, is the only way to do that. A plant-free, carbohydrate-free diet is the only lifestyle that can accomplish this. Anything else, if you're a carb addict, and that's the big qualifier, if you're a carb addict, nothing else will work. If you're not a carb addict, you don't have a problem. Lucky you. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have a problem. I don't have a drinking problem. Lucky me. That's not anything that I happen to have a hand in doing. It just is what it is. Unfortunately, we are all drug addicts when it comes to sugar, and we don't even know it. And we won't talk about it because according to most, it's not a thing. It's not even a thing. And it's not a thing, and they don't want you to even think it's a thing. And they control the narrative. They control the narrative. Our message can't get out. Nobody will pay to put it out there. And when it's put out there, nobody has any incentive to show it. There's no money behind our message. Real money, drug company money, lobbyist money. Why do you think films like Knives Over Forks end up in movie theaters and on Netflix? And films like Vinnie Tortorich, all of his stuff. Films like Nina Teicholz puts out about the real corruption and the real reason. Why do you think that none of them ever go anywhere? Why nobody's ever heard of them? Why do you think films like Forks Over Knives are recommended by cardiologists? And I did a film about, so I went into my cardiologist and told her I was a carnivore, about Ellen's experience going to her cardiologist, who happened to be a Seventh-day Adventist, and loaded her up with all the propaganda, all the movies put out by the companies pushing a vegan diet and vegetarian. There's plenty of money behind that. All the drug companies are behind that because it makes you sick and buy their products. The food companies are behind those things. The money is behind them. There is no real money. Real money, hundreds of millions of dollars for propaganda behind anything that tells people, don't eat that shit, don't buy that shit, just eat meat. There's no support for that financially. The world is just too corrupt. That is, unfortunately, reality. We have to accept that reality, and then if we're going to fix it, we have to figure out how. How do we get this message out? I have 109 people listening to me. What kind of good is that going to do? Oh, it'll help 109 people, hopefully. But in so many cases, I'm preaching to the choir. That's why you're here. Little support. Little support. Time to wind this down yet? Well, getting there. Over an hour and a half. These things seem to go between an hour and a half, 2 hours, before people just kind of fade out, say, okay, and go about your day, and we'll come back tomorrow. I'm down to 10:53 a.m. I'm only about 15 minutes behind in the chat, looking for any more questions, trying to pick out any comments I think might be interesting. Princess Mom, question, what's the difference between cigar tobacco and pipe tobacco? My dad's pipe smells so good. The difference is all the shit they add to pipe tobacco to make it smell good. That's the difference. The difference is cigar tobacco is just leaves. There's nothing added to it. There are no chemicals, nothing to make it burn, nothing to make it smell, no flavorings, none of that stuff. That's why I think it's the healthiest thing. If you're going to puff on anything, it should be a cigar and you don't inhale. Pipe tobaccos are made with tons of additives, who knows what they are, but they smell good. And there's a reason why. But it's all chemicals. Natural leaves, when they grow and you age them and you just burn them slowly, don't smell sweet. Mama Bear says, someone interested in carnivore asked me why my what my ApoB level is, which I have no clue about. She said is an indicator of cardiovascular disease. Is this something that means anything? No, absolutely not. It is bullshit. It is bullshit. ApoB is a protein that lives on the surface of an LDL. It is the license plate on an LDL particle that allows any receptor that it happens to dock to recognize what it is, decide where it needs to go. If you have high cholesterol, you're going to have high ApoB. Sorry. But that's okay. It's there for a reason. It didn't develop over millions of years as part of our physiology to poison us. It has a purpose. And if our physiology is working correctly, it will regulate the levels of all of those things right where they're supposed to be, not where somebody thinks they're supposed to be because they want to put you on a drug and take your money. I don't care about any of those numbers, period. Am I wrong? Could be. But I think I stand a better chance trusting my own programming than what some agenda-driven, Seventh-day Adventist-backed crazy woman decided I should be worried about 100 and some years ago. Sorry, I will trust my physiology first and not consume myself with worry, which is destructive, by the way, and stressful, and counterproductive, and could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you could worry yourself to death, worrying about things that you shouldn't be worrying about or have to, things that weren't even a thing 100 years ago. Whereas your physiology was a thing millions of years ago. Trust nature. Trust in the fact that you're alive today, which means that the stuff you're made of did it right throughout the history of life on this planet. It would not turn on you now. Try to eat as close to the food as your ancestors ate. That's the best you can do. And stay, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not telling you to do this, but my advice to myself is stay away from the medical community unless you break something. I did it. I got down to the bottom of the chat and found some questions. That's great. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for being here. I enjoyed it. And Kelsey, if you're still watching, man, thanks for coming in. Thanks for contributing to this. And good luck and have a great, great trip down in Mexico. And don't drink the water. Oh, don't drink the water, Kelsey. There's nothing worse than that. I remember when I was a young kid and I was in the Army and they sent me to Turkey. And there's something in the water and the food in Turkey. And when you arrived in Turkey and you settled into your base, wherever it might be, they didn't even count on you for 2 weeks to be able to function. Why? Because you will come down, everybody does, with a crippling dysentery and be useless for a couple of weeks. And they named that particular disease the turkey trots. That's what they named it, the turkey trots. And I wasn't immune from the turkey trots either. I'll never forget that. I will never forget that. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's something in the food and water, and something that we Americans were not used to. And the same thing happens a lot of times in Mexico when you drink their water. So normally, if you would be drinking that water every day like all the Mexicans, you would have built up the physiology to deal with it. But it didn't work that way. It didn't work that way. So listen, my friends, thanks for coming so much. Let me exit with a little happy music here. Take a minute and some to say goodbye to everybody in the chat while I finish my coffee, relight my cigar, and watch you all say goodbye. Rick, don't drink the duck pond water. Sage advice, Rick. Sage advice. He says keep on quacking. Jerry Hall, see you all. Bye-bye. I think I'll smoke my cigar after my indoor golf. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Mitch. Have a great day, says Smoothie. The Kingdom Way Keto to Carnivore by everyone. Kitchen Witch, Tanya. Sorry I was so chatty today. Don't ever apologize for that. I want you guys to be chatty. Claudia Burkitt, thank you all. Have a great day. Bob Black, see you tomorrow. You certainly will. Smoothie, take care everyone. Have fun. Anna, PL07. Bye from a walk. Never wise go. Have an awesome, blessed day, everyone. Lat says bye. BB Max says cha-cha-cha. Tuka, you're here. How you doing? You're in a train going home. Super good to see you. B. Matt says good morning. Matt, it's over. Mike Seeley, thanks for the kind words and the coffees, my friend. Really appreciate that. I'm going to take a quick look. Make sure I didn't miss any coffees. I don't think so. Thank you, everybody, for helping out. I really appreciate that. And enough said for today. I think enough said. I hope we all got something out of it. A little entertainment, a little cigar puffing, happy music. And with that, I'm going to disappear off into the sunrise. I'm going to disassemble my entire studio out here, put it away. Take the rest of the day off, which I suggest you do as well. And the one thing I'm going to do today that I also suggest that you do, my friends, is eat meat.